Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Today, in just a bit, I am off to check out the latest in the Godzilla franchise, Godzilla Minus One. So what is the story of Godzilla Minus One? Well, the film takes place right after World War II, when Japan is trying to rebuild after the atomic bomb, and Godzilla attacks. Now, this is not a remake of the 1954 Godzilla film. This is not a prequel/sequel of Shin Godzilla. This film has nothing to do with the MonsterVerse from Hollywood or any of other Toho Godzilla films, to the best of my knowledge. This movie is starting its own brand new thing. You see, the 70th anniversary of the original Godzilla film is right around the corner, and I don't think this movie is necessarily corresponding with that, but it kind of is, I guess. I couldn't find any actual solid information on if this is some kind of 70th anniversary type thing or not, but, you know, they're matching up. Let's just put it that way. Well, so anyways, guys, this is a film that I've been looking forward to for quite some time. The first time I saw this trailer, it just kind of blew my mind. It really looked like Godzilla going back to the roots, and the CGI does look pretty solid from the trailer, and I really like the new look of Godzilla, even though in the trailer you don't really get that awful good look of Godzilla. I'm still stoked, okay? Let me just put it that way. Alright, well, enough of me sitting here yammering. I gotta get out the door because it's time for me to go check out Godzilla Minus One. Welcome back, just getting home, and guys, have you ever gone to see a movie and then at the very end of it, when the credits start to roll and you're sitting there amongst all of those people and the credits are rolling in front of you and the movie is fading to black and you suddenly realize you have just seen a classic? You know right in that moment that this is going to be one of those movies that are going to affect generations to come. People, I just saw that movie tonight. This is by far the best Godzilla movie I have seen to date. Okay, since the first one, obviously. Since what started it all, since 1954. This is the finest, well-crafted, just most beautifully shot Godzilla film I have seen in a very, very, very long time. Alright, now, negatives wise. Okay, now this is not something that bothered me, but I'm going to go ahead and warn some folks right out the gate. If you are expecting the MonsterVerse going into this, if you're expecting camp and cheese and a guy in a rubber suit hopping around, or CGI, well, there's CGI, but you know what I mean. If you're expecting cheesy camp that you would find from other Toho Godzilla films, or if you're expecting a big CGI boombastic action film that you found with the MonsterVerse, this is not that movie, alright? This is a very, despite the fact there is a giant lizard, very grounded film. This is a very human story. It does not tell a monster story. It tells a human story. So, right there, that's what I want to warn you about. This film is actually much more grounded in horror and drama than it is action. There are action sequences, and there are some beautiful action sequences in this movie, but there are some downright scary and monstrous scenes in this. And I'm not talking about super violence. There's just some extremely well done, like I said, horror-ish scenes in this film. Alright, so that is not necessarily negatives, that's just something I wanted to let you know right out the gate. So this is going into positives, I guess, anyways. Whatever. Okay, so as I said, this film is very human-driven. It's not like all of the other Godzilla films in recent history where the monster is the lead, the monster is straightforward. It's what the movie is there for. It's what you're there to see. It's Godzilla and Kong and cities getting destroyed and all. This film tells a story of just people trying to survive in post-war Japan. It's a very different type of Godzilla story. When you dive into what the folks are going through, this is more of a grounded story with the civilians and the people of Japan than you find in other stories of Toho monster films. Because it's right after the war, these folks don't really have a military that's helping them out right now. And also, too, this is during a time when the United States and the Soviets didn't have the best, relationships. So any kind of movement in a military fashion by the United States, even to help Japan, could have caused an international incident. So the people of Japan were completely on their own with this one. And then they get stuff like the UN going, hey, we'll send you some battleships. And they're like, great, you're going to send us back those battleships that you decommissioned and have no guns on it. That's going to help us out against the giant lizard. Thanks, UN. Stuff like that. There is some really, really cool stuff in this film that you just don't find in a typical kaiju film. This really isn't a kaiju film. Let me put it that way. It is Godzilla and all that, but this is much more like the original 1954 film. This is more, again, drama. It's more grounded with a human story, and Godzilla is more of the background. Godzilla is something that the people of Japan have to overcome rather than the main focus and the main character of the film. It just goes back to the old days when Godzilla was the villain and people weren't cheering him to, kill a monster for him and such. I like the fact that we go back to that again with Godzilla and we focus on storytelling with really good characters that have journeys and stories and characterization with heroes' journeys and so on and so forth. This film is not just about the monsters, it's more about the people and their struggles that they're having trying to get through what they're what they're going through in their day-to-day lives. So guys, yes, I have to say this is an extremely solid, get out there and see it in theaters. The special effects were beautiful. As I said, this movie is extremely well shot. Yes, there are some questionable moments with CGI, but almost all of the CGI in this film is very, very well done. The special effects look very good. The acting is also outstanding, even though I couldn't understand what they were saying. I watched the subtitled version of the film, which you should see the subtitled version of this film just so you can see the performances of the actors because they're outstanding. They're so good in this movie. I wish I could pronounce everyone's name properly so that I could give proper congratulations to everyone, but unfortunately I don't want to do that and sound like a fool trying to say these names, so I'm not. But just trust me, folks, very well made, very well acted, all around solid, great story, characters and human beings that you actually care about, and an actual riveting story that go along with it. So this is solid. This is a great way to get out there and celebrate the holidays with a giant monster destroying coastal Japan. Alright guys, well that's all I have for you today. This is a solid get out there and see it. If it's showing in your town, support it. And yes, this is the 70th anniversary film. It does say that in the movie right at the very beginning, the 70th anniversary of Godzilla. So Anyways, get out there, check this film out. It is a solid, see it in theaters. I saw it in what was called the Dolby Theater, so I had this massive sound system, huge screen in front of me, and really, guys, go see this movie, if you can, on a huge screen with that sound system, because, oh man, the sound design too, I forgot to say, the sound design is just off the chain in this movie. I can't stop talking about this movie, how much I enjoyed it. So get out there, support this film, so we get more Godzilla. Yes, more Godzilla films like this, please. Alright, thanks again for checking out the Film Geek, guys. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you could do, folks, that is keep watching movies, especially Godzilla, because you know I'm gonna.